And we'll just make sure that it's streaming. There it is. Okay. All right, if you just joined us, my name is Steve Rennie. I am the Ren Baron, and this is my Ren Baron Learning to Fly YouTube channel. We're flying today a little simulated flight from Austin Executive Airport in Austin, Texas to New Orleans, the Lakefront Airport, KNEW. We've got the plane already started up, so let's jump in and get started here. I'll be taking some questions on the chat room here as once we get going here. But let's get going. We've got the plane already started up right now, and we're now about ready to go and get our ATIS. So come along for the ride here. Okay, so we got our ATIS here. We got the winds at 110 and 6, overcast at 7,000, 3019 on the altimeter, and we're taking off on runway 3 today. All right, so the next thing I would do, let's, I think we're up close here. Let's go, here we go, back over here. We want to go close up here. Let's go and get, we're up, you're looking at our COM2 right now. That was ATIS. We're now going to switch over and make believe I'm calling up the clearance delivery folks. So I'll just go ahead and simulate this and kind of just work you way through it just so you guys get the flow of it here. Okay, so let's give them a call right now. Austin Executive Clearance Delivery, Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra at Hendrickson Jet Center with Alpha. I'm looking to pick up my IFR flight plan to Kilo November Echo Whiskey, Lakefront Airport in New Orleans. Okay, he's going to come back to me and say, okay, you're cleared to KEDC. You're going to fly the Alexi 3 departure. Transition at JJO. Then the Mossy, intersection of the Mossy 214 radial 7 miles out. Then the Lake Charles Audad 1 arrival. And then direct. Okay, we're going to fly 4,000 to start, 11,000 in 10 minutes. Our departure frequency is going to be 127,225. And our squawk is going to be 2540. Okay, and I'll read that back to him. Cleared to New Orleans on the Alexi 3 departure, JJO transition, Lake Charles, Audad 1 arrival, and then direct 4,000 to start, 11,010, 127.225 on the departure, 2540 on the squawk. All right, so now let's go over here and get this all programmed in here. I'm going to give you a little quick look in there so you can see how we do this. I'm going to start with always going backwards along this sheet here. So I'm going to start with ident, actually not ident, excuse me, transponder. I'm going to put in 2450, enter, okay, and you can see that right here on our MFD. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is put in our departure frequency, which is 127,225, which you can see right here. It's up in COM1 standby. I'm going to put in our starting altitude of 4,000 on the altitude select. That's a check. I'm going to go now to our flight plan and load this all in there. So now let's go KEDC. We want KNEW, KNEW, enter, enter. Okay, so now I'm going to go up to KNEW, and I'm going to go hit the procedure button here. Then I'm going to select a departure, and it's the Alexi 3 departure from runway 13. We went to JJO intersection. Now we're going to load that. Okay, so that's all terrific, and that looks good. JJO, and then from there, they're going to want us to get another procedure. It's going to be the arrival, and it's going to be the Audad 1 arrival from Lake Charles. Okay, and then we're going to load that, And we got a little wiggling going here on our flight plan that is trying to load here. Okay, let's see if that all got in there. Okay, that made it. Arrival. I think we got 2 arrivals there. Let's just see. Arrival Audad 1. Actually, you know what? We didn't do this right. Let's go back 1 here. Let's go clear, clear. Okay. Let's go back up here again. Clear it, clear. Okay. Shoot. Did I go all the way up there and clear everything? Okay. I could have started all over again. Jeez. Okay. Flight plan. Delete the flight plan. We're going to start all over. KEDC. Let's try that again. The procedure here is going to be the departure. It's going to be the Alexi 3 departure. We want 1-3. We want JJO. Let's enter that. That's all good now. JJO. Okay, from JJO we go Lake Charles. LCH. Okay, JJO. Okay, there's Lake Charles. Now we want the Audad 1 arrival. Oh, hang on. That's not right. No, KNEW right here is what we want. KENEW, geez. Okay, let's clear that one out of there. Enter. Okay, now let's try this again. Procedure, we want an arrival, the Audad 1. There you go. Starting at Lake Charles, and then we're all good. And then we'll go back to our flight plan. There's our departure, our arrival, Audad. That's all part of the Audad 1 arrival, I guess, and there's KNEW. Okay, so now we're all set on our flight plan there. And now we can now go and put in our ground frequency 119.45. Let's put that in there, 45. And then switch that over, and now we are ready to go. Let's get our plate here for the airport. Let me adjust my iPad here. Okay, we are KEDC. Let's get our airport diagram here. There's where we are on the ramp here. So we're going to make a little right. We got to make a right out to Alpha and then over to 13. Okay, so let's take a look up top here. All righty, let's give her a go here. Let's look a little bit left, a little bit right. All right, so we're going to head out and then over to Alpha. Okay, so let's do it. We're going to get rid of our brakes and let's get started. Actually, let's do our ground clearance. Okay, we're on 119.45, which is our ground. Austin Executive Ground, Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra at Hendrickson, ready to taxi to 13. Taxi to 13 via Alpha. Taxi 13 via Alpha. All right, let's go. Okay, let's go to our checklist here. While we're getting going, brakes are all good. Attitude gyro is good. Turn coordinator is looking good. Okay, great. Let's keep her on the runway here, Steve. That'd be nice. All right, so we're going to swing on here to Alpha. Here we go to Alpha. Okay, so all that is good. Before takeoff, our doors are latched and closed. Caps handle is where it should be. Seatbelt and shoulder harnesses are secure. Fuel quantity we've confirmed. Fuel selector is on the fullest tank. Fuel pump is on. Flaps are 50. Let's confirm 50 here. There's 50. Head up to the run-up area here, and we'll complete the rest of this. There's a little turnout here, as you can see on the iPad there. All right, let's complete the rest of this. Brakes are on. Okay, let's go to our full screen here. All right, brakes are on. Flaps are up or on, down. Transponder, we've got set 2450. Autopilot check. Let's do the autopilot check where our heading is over right there. So let's go heading mode, autopilot. You'll see that the flight director bar moves here. It's not quite the same as in the plane, but that'll work for right now. Let's go with our takeoff go around button, which is right here on the little red button under the throttle. Okay, that gives us wings level at 7 degrees-ish. Autopilot is checked. Navigation radios are set for takeoff. We got 120.3 up top, 127.225. Those are all set and ready to... Let's go back. All right, cabin heat defrost is as required. Brakes we're holding. Now let's go over to our engine page. We're going to spooler up to 1700 here. There's 1700. Now we're going to check our electrical. We're going to hit the nav button. We're looking for movements over here on Alt 1 and 2. Strobe is on. Landing light pushes Alt 1 a little bit. I should push it a little bit further, and it does. Pitot heat will move Alt 2 pretty good, and it does. Now let's check our mags. We want to see no drop more than 150 and between 100. So let's go to our left mag starting at 1710. We've got a drop of 80 to 90-ish. Our EGTs are rising right here. Sorry for not putting that up there a little bit bigger for you in the beginning. Let's go back. Let's go back to both here. Reset it at 1710. Now let's go to the right mag. Got a drop of 40. Our EGTs are rising. That's good. Back to both. Power back to 1000. Hit the home button, back to the checklist. Power lever is all good. Alternator is good. Pitot heat is not going to be required right now. ICE is not going to be required right now. We'll leave our landing lights off for right now. Voltage, we're checking. Voltage right here is +0. That's good. On my plane, it's about +2-ish. Pitot heat is off. Navigation lights are off. Landing lights are off. Magnetos have checked. Engine parameters are all green now. Power lever is back to 1000. Flight instruments, HSI, and altimeter. We've got our 4. We've got all that stuff set. Flight controls, let's go outside the plane so you can see how that looks. Let's go rear view. Let's zoom in here. Okay, there's our rudders. There's our elevators. There's our ailerons. Everything's working properly. Let's go for our trim. Come inside the plane, go for our trim, which we'll set right here. Let's take a look out on that right wing. Trim it. Let's check our left wing. Looks good. Trimmed. Okay, those are all good. Back to the map or the checklist. Flight control is good. Trim is good. Autopilot is disconnected. We know how to take off, so let's get our climb checklist ready. Then let's go to our flight plan. Okay, let's scroll her up to the top and do a little check here. We're going on runway 13. We're going to vector 131 and then back around to hook. Let's go to the map here. Check our iPad so you can see what that looks like right here. And before we go, I'm going to do a quick look at that departure and see if there's anything on here I'm missing. Taking off from where we're going to climb on heading 126 or as assigned by ATC for vectors to cross hook at or above 5,000. All right, so straight ahead. Our maps are all set here. We're ready to go. All right, let's come up top. Now we're ready to pull up to the line here and get started. All right, let's do this. Brakes are off. Switch over to Comp 1 now. To 5,000 is what we want here. Okay, let's come on up a little bit further than that. Austin Executive Tower, Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra, holding short runway 13 at Alpha, ready for departure. He's going to come back to us and tell us we're cleared for takeoff. Okay, 13 cleared for takeoff, 8 Foxtrot Sierra. When a 126 heading is what he said. Let's get on the runway here and then we'll set it up to 5,000 feet. So let's put 5,000 in there. Okay, let's get 126. Let's go sync a heading. 126 is where we want to go. And then straight out here to J-Joe to Hook. All right. All right, let me make sure I got everything trimmed. Flap mixture boost here. Check that departure. One more to shoot. Come on, back over here. Plates. Departure. We want one more time. Climb on heading 126. Errata by vectors to cross Hook. All right. And there is Hook at 311. All right, great. So we're going 126. All right, let's do this. We got 12725 load. Okay, so now we're all set. Let's give it some power here, get it started down the runway there. All right, flaps all the way in, speed's alive. Let's start pulling her up. There we go. Looking for 90. There's 90, flaps are up. We're in heading mode here. Keep her on 126. Okay, we're looking for 1220 for our caps here. Set our indicated airspeed 120. Caps available. It's going to give us a hook, get a vector to 311 here. So let's go. Let's imagine to swing us around to the left here. Get a vector here over. Let's go. He wants us to go 030. So let's just do it. I'm assuming that's what it is. I have no idea, actually. Tried listening on live ATC all day. Couldn't get a departure call out of here. All right. All right, so we're coming around. Got good speed coming out of here. We got to get to 5,000 feet. Let's get to 5,000 on this 35 heading. Let's go 30 heading. Now let's go up to 5,000 feet. And let's assume then he'll give us direct hook. Actually, he's going to turn us to the right here. Let's go this way, 311. Looks like on this. All right, so we're swinging around here at 3,800. And I'm going to say that he's now going to give us direct hook, direct enter, nav. Now we're going direct hook. Okay, there's 5,000. Coming up on 5,000, I should say. Let's switch our tank to the right here. There's 5,000. Okay, we're heading direct hook now. All right, now let's make believe he gives us climb maintain 1,000. So let's just keep it going here. Let's go indicated airspeed 125. We don't need it all there. 11,000. Let's get that all trimmed up here now. Okay, we got a nice climb going here now. It's a good time to go to our climb checklist. Got a little second break in the action here. Oxygen is not required. Power lever is full forward. Our mixture is full forward. Our airspeed is right where we want it to be for right now. Fuel flow is, we're going to pull that back in a second. Let's pull back our manifold pressure just a little bit. Engine parameters are all good right now. Climb into 11,000. We're going to go through some clouds. Overcast was predicted at 7. And it looks like that is actually a good number. We will have contacted departure. Austin departure 0768 Foxtrot Sierra 6,600 climbing 11,000. Going through the clouds. When I'm looking through the clouds, I start looking right here. That's all I'm interested in. I got clouds left, clouds right, nothing to see. Just look at those instruments right here. That's all I want right there. Pitot heat is required. We'll put that on now. Go back to the map. Let's back and do a little decluttering here. Okay, we're on the pink line, which is always good. We're heading for hook. Still in the clouds at 7. Now I'm looking over here on my PFD, checking the temperature because I'm in the clouds. I want to make sure that I don't have any issues with icing here. Temperature is above freezing, so that's a good sign. Okay, once we get up to cruise, I'll see if anybody's actually on the stream, see if the stream is working, see if perhaps the audio is working, everything's happening here. Coming through 8,300 on the way to 11,000. That's all you need to look at, folks, when you're in the clouds is right there. Just make believe you're doing a close-up, just like that. Okay, we're heading for hooked. What's so great about the Cirrus is all this automation. Once you get the hang of it, it's just like a little blue blankie. All right. Coming up on 9100, we're about to break out. One of my favorite things flying a plane is coming through the clouds. And in the great words of Jim Morrison, breaking on through to the other side. All right, there it is. Coming out the other side now, up to 11,000. 9,600 for 11. Just flying this by hand here, which I do a lot here on the simulator and have started to do it more in the plane. It's good practice. Okay, we're going to be on top. This is going to be a beautiful flying day right here. Let's get her up to 11. Okay, there's 11,000. Let's see, let that follow the flight director. hold it at 11, let her speed up a little bit. Now I'm going to pull back my manifold pressure just a tick under 29.5 there. I'm going to let her speed up a little bit first. I like to let it get up to about 145, 150-ish. Let's keep it at 11, Steve. And then once we get everything set up, we're going to put it on autopilot. So there's coming up on 140. Let's get that altitude where it needs to be, Steve. Okay, now I'm going to pull back the mixture to about 16.1 gallons, which should get me about 75%. Let's pay attention here. Got to multitask here. There we go. Watching that. It's a little sticky on my throttle. You know, that's a... Okay, come on. 175. Come on. Almost getting it there. Close enough for right now. Okay, let's put her on autopilot. Okay, we're going to hold in 11 there. There's 150, which is good. Come on, little darling. Get on over there. Okay, great. All righty. Let's take a look over here and see if anything is happening here. Oh, because I haven't put it on public. Yeah, there you go. All right, let's go put it on public right now. See if that'll work. Done. Okay, now we're going to be saving it. Okay. All right, folks. Well, you missed, if you see this, you missed a fine departure out of Austin Executive Airport. We're now at 11,000 feet. We're above these clouds here, although we might be in them. So I may actually want to go a little bit higher here. So right now I'm going to make believe I'm going to call up. Well, let's just see how we do here. Let's go outside for a second, take a look at the external view here. All right, I think we're probably okay here for right now. We might get some little pieces of the cloud, but right now we're looking good. Okay, so everybody, a little recap where we are here. We are flying from Austin Executive to New Orleans today, the Lakefront Airport. Let me go back to, okay, we got to restore the chat here. Nope, we don't see anything here. All righty. All right, my name is Steve Rennie. I am the Ren Baron, and this is my Ren Baron Learning to Fly YouTube channel. I'm recording and streaming here, and so I forgot to take it off of unlisted. And now we're public, so I don't know if anybody's going to be watching or not. But if you are, here we are. I did a little recap. We're headed from Hooked to Alexi here. We've taken off out of Austin Executive Airport here, and we are now on our way at 11,000 feet to Nolans. Now we're just right at the top of this. So here's what I'm going to call up approach. Austin, approach Sierra 768 Foxtrot Sierra. Can I get 13,000? We'll come back to say, climb, maintain 13,008 Foxtrot Sierra. So I'm going to go over and I'm going to show you what I'm doing here. We're going to go 13,000 here on the altitude select, which you can see right here. I'm going to go indicated airspeed 125. We'll go up there at. We don't need to go much faster than that. We're going to give it full mixture and full power to 100 and get her up there. Let's put a pilot. I think we need a pilot in this plane, don't you? So let's go up here and let's put one in there. It'll be me. If I put another passenger, it won't be my wife. So let's go up. There we are. Let's go zoom in a little bit. See that handsome devil. Okay, let's circle around back to the right. This is some of the fun stuff. I love doing videos here on the X-Plane. You can kind of do a little bit of storytelling here. Okay, there we are. All right, we're going to get some clouds. We're going to clear here in a second, which is nice. Let's come back inside the cockpit here. Okay, we're almost up to 13,000. Oxygen is required. That is true. So let's go to oxygen. We're going to go down just a little tiny bit here. We're going to flip on our oxygen right here. Now we're good. And now we got literally some clear sailing up ahead here, which is nice. Let's pull that manifold pressure back just a little bit. We don't want to see yellows hanging around for very long. Okay, we got rid of that. Should be tipping down here in a second. All right, there's 13,000. Let's get our climb. We did all our climb stuff here, so let's enter all of that. We know we did all of that, so let's go up to cruise. Now we've got oxygen is on, required and on. Fuel pump is on. Cruise power, we're at 142. Let's pull back our manifold pressure just a tick here. Let's pull our mixture back. We want 16.1 gallons. Is what I'm looking for. That should get me right at about 75%-ish. See if I nail it in there this time. Get it there quickly. All right, come on, a little bit more. There's 75, beautiful. Okay, cruise power is set, mixture is set, engine parameters are looking good. And in 1 second, I'm going to take note of all my numbers. Fuel flow and balance is all good. Let's go, that's done. Let's go to our next checklist, which is descent, then back to the map. Let's scroll out and take a little quick look and see where we're at here, okay? We are heading Alexei to JJ. We got 5.5 miles. We've got 358 miles to New Orleans, about an hour and 50 minutes. We should land with 53 gallons of fuel on destination. Right now, it looks like we got a little wind at our back. We are on navigation mode with autopilot and yaw damper engaged, and we're at 13,000 feet. That's our little recap of where we are. Now, I'm going to take a minute here and see if anybody is actually watching, because I've messed this up again. Okay, we got 3 people watching here. Okay, 2 concurrent, 7 views. All right, great. Let me come back up here. Back to X-Plane here. All righty, default view. Okay. We got some... if you got any questions or comments here, please feel free to put them here. We'll look at them on the chat room. Nobody in there just yet, okay? If anybody's watching out there, can you hear me okay? Is the engine to pilot voice in the proper setting there? Is it balanced properly? So if anybody's online there, you can give me a little hint of how it's all working. That would be great. Here's where we are on our iPad right now. I'll zone in here. I'll get rid of this flight plan. Okay, up there so you can see where we're at. Okay, we're looking good. See if there's any questions in the chat room or any comments in the chat room. Nothing yet. All right, anybody home? Don't be shy. All right, only one viewer. Okay. All right, well, you'll put some comments in there, and that would be great if you can hear me. If not, I'm recording, and it's just for fun here, folks. Just having some fun up here in the clouds, in the sky, heading to New Orleans. Okay, now, once I've got the plane up to the proper... up to cruise altitude, I should say. This is when I do my first check on the instrument, and what I like to do is keep track of what's going on with the plane. So let's call it 3:30 right now, and I'm going to go over to this engine strip over here. Let's come up close. All right, this engine strip right here is what I'm looking for, okay, and I'm going to take down my numbers here. So right now we got 1550 is our numbers, is our EGT temperatures. Our CHTs are at 336, which is nice and cool. The engine, that's its happy place right there. We've got 46 gallons or 46 pounds of pressure on the oil. Our oil temp is 179. Those are both well within the green. Our fuel flow is 16.0 gallons. That's getting us 75%. We're going to switch our tank over to the left tank right here, which I did right here. Okay, and that left tank is now getting... We've got 81 gallons of fuel on board right now, okay? So left 8-1, and then because I'm using oxygen today, I'm going to take note of my oxygen pressure, which is 1,750 pounds of pressure on the oxygen, and I'll come back and take another reading here at 4 o'clock and see what, if anything, has changed, in the hopes that we can stay ahead of the ball game. If we have any engine issues there, that we'll be able to deal with them before it becomes a big issue. Now, with all that taken care of, I'm going to push on the old home button and take us back to the map and zoom it in, and there we are. So I can hear you. Thank you, Cody B. I was wondering if anybody was on. Where are you watching from, Cody B? Where are you watching from, Cody? Little T, can't ever do that up in the air, because I would be, I'd have to be running to the bathroom. There is none, so we'll stay away from that. All right. All right. Let's go and enjoy the flight here a little bit. Let's go outside and enjoy the view. Let's go front. There's our pilot again. Let's get a little above him, and let's take a look around the side and see where we're heading. Come on in. There we go. There it is. Beautiful 768 Foxtrot Sierra. Rainy day here in California, and it's been raining a lot here. And I've been around for almost 68 years now. And this is about the craziest, wackiest patch of weather all across the country that I can ever remember here, frankly. It's just nutty. California, usually as dry as a bone, is getting drenched. The good news is we need that water. Cody B. on Ohio. Good for you, Ohio. My brother lives in Cleveland, Ohio. I've had some good times there at some rock shows in Cleveland, Ohio. All right, now we're an hour and 46 minutes out, so what I'm likely to do here is just let this thing run for a little bit, Cody B., and come back to it here in 30 minutes. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And so if you want to take a break, I should find out if there's some way for me to put a little sign here. Be back in 30 minutes. But for right now, I'm just going to hang out here and enjoy the view here. Now, taking off and landing, that's where all the action is. But if you're flying across the country in a small plane, I can tell you from experience that doing it in a Cirrus is just really makes it a lot more enjoyable. Have so many great toys to work with there. You got your XM radio, which is fun. You've got the XM satellite weather, which keeps you up to speed on everything. Make sure you know exactly what you're doing when, which is helpful. All kinds of great stuff that you can look at. So let's go back into the cockpit here. Here's back in the cockpit here. I just built a similar sim setup with Noble products. Okay. You know, it's funny, Cody. I've tried both the Noble and the real sim gear stuff, as you can see right here. I'm sure you figured it out by now. But this is the Cirrus cockpit setup by Real Sim Gear. And what's been interesting to note is that the sim customers tend to, line up based on whether they're closer to the West Coast or the East Coast. The Noble Flight Sim stuff is really, really, really terrific gear, and it looks great. And it has a very, realistic feel to the Cirrus cockpit stuff, right? A real Cirrus cockpit. When I first started looking at simulators, Cody, I looked at Noble Flight Sim first, and it was early days. This is probably 3.5 years ago. So what they have today wasn't even close to what they had back then. Today it's much more comprehensive, and it's just really terrific. Real Sim Gear, on the other hand, was a little bit further along in terms of having pieces of the puzzle. But back then, their PFD and MFD were basically G1000 screens. We had all the G1000 buttons, so I covered a lot of those up when I first started, and so I wanted to make it realistic. Noble stuff was really spot on. But the main difference I found back then was that the software approach from each company is a little bit different. The folks at Noble Flight Sim are building all of the software from scratch, and whereas the Real Sim Gear folks did a deal with a company called Torque Sim Aviation, which is four young guys who put together that whole flight plan. Some of the guys are involved with the engine. One of the kids is involved with all the avionics. One of the other guys is involved with all of the look and feel type of the stuff here. And but anyway, the Torque Sim guys, a gentleman by the name of Cooper LeComp, decided to kind of build on top of the X-plane infrastructure, so it has a lot more depth out of the box than the Noble Flight Sim stuff. So I don't know if that's still true today. I spoke to somebody who had a Noble Flight Sim set up, and there were still some things in there that they weren't able to do that you can do on the Torque Sim Aviation. So I'll ask you, Cody, can you do VNAV stuff on the Noble Flight Sim system? That's one of my go-to things here in my real Cirrus, and it works pretty good. Here's another one I'm reminded of right now, PFD. I'm going to go to synthetic vision. I am a big fan of the pathways, and the pathways, in my experience, when I tried the Noble stuff, they didn't have pathways back then. They did have it on the Noble Flight Sim model. The OBS function works for me back when I started with Real Sim Gear, was not working on the Noble Flight Sim software at that point. But they were constantly working at it, and the folks that run Noble Flight Sim are really, really good guys. And ditto is true for the folks at Real Sim Gear who are based here in San Diego. The owner of the company is a real pilot fanatic. So are the guys at Noble Flight Sim. So I think the most important thing is you get something you're comfortable with. And I just love my Real Sim Gear setup. And today's a perfect example. I wasn't able to fly. My wife and I decided to hold off on our trip until the weather across the country gets a little bit better. But here I am today, practicing as though I am flying that flight, and on things like doing the departures and the arrivals, which we'll do at Lake Charles or for New Orleans. It gives you a chance to practice those things so that when you actually are getting out there for the very first time and looking at an airport for the very first time, it's not totally unfamiliar, and I just think it's a wonderful tool. I've had my Cirrus, will have had my Cirrus for almost 5 years when we sell it, and I've been using this sim religiously, and I'll probably be using it a lot more, once I sell my plane, just to keep sharp, because I intend to keep flying. But I'll more likely be renting or leasing some hours this time around rather than being an owner. Cody B, I'm not sure if it is or not. I'm still learning the G1000. Now, Cody, can I ask you this, since it's just you and me here, my brother? Are you an actual Cirrus pilot now? Are you thinking about buying a Cirrus? Do you rent a Cirrus? Tell me a little bit about your Cirrus experience. While we're doing that, we got J. Joe to LCH. We're at 13,000 feet. We're doing 183 knots. We got a little push on the wind, which is terrific, and it's right behind us. In golf and flying, wind at your back, much better, much better. Unless you're coming into a green or landing on a runway, then going into the wind probably gets you a little softer landing there. Let's go to our iPad. Give you a look and see where we're at in the flight here. Okay, why aren't we on TNV here? Let's get on TNV. There we go. All right, now we're looking good here. That's strange that our JJO to LGH. Oh, you know what? Somehow I lost that little bit there. Okay, so let's come back over here. All right, Cody, since you and I are the only ones talking here, it says, I'm not sure if it is, I'm still learning the G1000. I just start, okay, now I could have just looked here ahead of time and seen some of my answers. I just started training for private pilot license training in an SR-20. Wow, you know what? I think that's so smart, Cody, for you to actually start in a Cirrus. I started in a little bit smaller plane, and then bought this little experimental plane called a Sling 4, which I just loved it. And it started off with some digital displays. By the time I sold the plane, it was all digital because I kept looking at making it as much like a Cirrus as I could. I dry leased a SR-20 G6 by the hour from the training company. Good call there. I've never actually flown in an SR-20, but I think the avionics are all exactly the same, and I think the only difference there is in the engine. You're in Cincinnati, where an SR-20 or 22 without turbo is probably plenty of horsepower for you. Out here on the West Coast, I've found, Cody, where we just get a lot of like bona fide mountains, which I don't know about you, but I want to get as high over those babies as I can. And I've flown to Lake Tahoe for the last 5 or 6 years. When you're flying at 7,000 feet, elevation at the airports, taking off, having that extra horsepower and that extra turbo gives you a lot of comfort there. Cody, I love the fact you're starting an SR-20. It's kind of like I liken it to a Tesla with wings. And the technology in it is so good, it's easy to get a little complacent. But I find that if you take the time to learn the avionics in the Gen 6 Avionics, Perspective Plus, it's hard to imagine after a while that you could have ever done it any other way. So one of the reasons I love doing these videos, and actually I'm starting to really love it doing it here on the sim, is because it gives you a chance to practice all that stuff, and you can do things here on the sim like stop the plane and think about something. I'll start it back up again. You can try stuff like turning off the alternators and reminding yourself that the plane really does fly. I can remember the first time I did that when I was really flying, I just lost my mind. It was kind of scary. So all of that kind of stuff is great, and you having that simulator is even better. You're taking your private pilot license, obviously, right now, but you should already be thinking about, in my opinion, getting your instrument rating, particularly if you're flying in a Gen 6, because this is just a little beast of an airplane for flying IFR. Okay, let's take a little peek to the right here. See the clouds out there. Love it. Let's take a look to the left. This is just beautiful. And as I'm flying here on the sim today, well, Cody, once you get that Cirrus, you can definitely come fly out here in our part of the country. My wife and I have been across the country a couple times now. And we stopped in Cleveland last time to see my brother who lives there, and had to leave a day early because there was some ugly weather coming in, and so we didn't get to stay very long. But flying over the whole of the country is a huge learning experience, and really is where the rubber meets the road on all that training. I'm going to try and attend flight school in May in Henderson, Nevada, hoping to take a couple of flights with them out there. Well, that's actually a great idea. Couple things to think about for in May in Henderson. In May, it won't be ridiculously hot in Las Vegas, but it'll probably give you a real first-hand look at density altitude, the impact of altitude in hot air. Now, most people think, Las Vegas is in a freaking desert, and it is, but it's actually in the high desert. I want to say that Las Vegas is 2,500, 2,450, I think, maybe 3,000 feet elevation there at Las Vegas, and it's Henderson Airport is surrounded by some mountains. So when you're flying into Henderson from the west, you come in over these mountains, and you have to really manage your speed there, Cody, when you come in, because it's a pretty steep descent into the runways there at Henderson. But it's a great airport. They got a great Cirrus training center out there. It's a good chance to get close to some busy airspace. Vegas has got big planes coming in there all the time. There's all kinds of big private jets coming in there all the time. So it gives you that real world experience of flying with the big boys that sometimes, when I've flown out across the whole of the country, once you get away from the big cities, it's a whole different game. It's much more relaxed. I've done a million times, called up the ATC just to make sure my radio was working properly. So anyway, all righty, let's see what else is happening here. Okay, now we got 4 folks watching. Okay, great. All right, let's go take care of a little business now. So I'm going to go back to let's take care of a little business. On my flight info sheets, which you see right here, I write down the frequencies for everything. Over on your Cirrus Perspective Plus system there, Cody B, you can just go down to, you could just scroll down like here to KNEW and hit the enter button, and it would bring up a whole bunch of information. You could type in and get the actually, there's a way to do it here too. Let's just do this. We're going to go click here. All right, so we're on we want to go KNEW, which we've got right there. I'm going to scroll down to the frequencies here, but they're going to put them on the top frequency, so it's not going to work. But anyway, you can do this here on Perspective Plus. You can scroll down and throw these frequencies over where you want. So for right now, though, I'm going to do it by hand because it doesn't work quite that way in the sim here. So 124.9 is my AWATS, which I'm going to flip over to active on COM2. Then I'm going to put in the tower is 118.95. Okay, so that's weird. 124.9. Okay, let's go to CTAF. Tower. Do I got a wrong one here for tower? Let me see. I might have something wrong right here when I entered these in. Let's go to WNEW or KNEW. Keep thinking of the old radio station. Tower is 118.95 is what I have. So anyway, that turns out to be wrong. 118.95. So anyway, punchline is I like to get ahead of the game. So whenever I have a moment of breathing time, I like to go and take care of business. So for me, I like to have all of my ground stuff on COM2 so that when I get that switch over, I don't have to think about anything. I just hit COM2. Okay. I for sure am planning on moving right into instrument training, Cody B says. And that's smart. That's the way to do it, because I'll tell you what happens, Cody, when you get your private pilot license, you're just happy as a pig in shit to be able to fly the plane here, but I'll speak for myself. I wasn't really very good at it, right? I was good enough to get my private pilot license, but one of the guys that used to park where I parked at Santa Monica Airport said, you got to get your instrument rating. He said it takes your game to a different level. And so I heard what he was saying, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to go and take my instrument rating. But what really motivated me to do that was that I fly out of Santa Monica all the time, which is right by the beach. So there's always this marine layer that's coming in the morning. Or when you fly out to some of the coastal cities up the coast north of Los Angeles, this marine layer can come in at any time, so it can be there in the morning and come back in early in the afternoon, and all of a sudden you get stuck somewhere because you can't figure out how to go 300 feet through some clouds. So that was really my inspiration for learning how to getting my IFR rating. That simulator you have, Cody, is just the best training in the world for getting you comfortable with looking right here in front of you, so that when you do get in clouds, okay, I'll just pull down my little my windscreen here just to block out that part of it, because all I want to do is just look right here to here, from here to here, and just get comfortable with everything being where it's supposed to be. And when you can do that, it makes a huge difference in your confidence level when you actually get in real IFR conditions. The other day, my wife and I were coming back from a little weekend trip out to Palm Springs, and we took off in Palm Springs, and it was a beautiful sunny day. We went through the Banning Pass, and then all of a sudden you get this big marine that looked like a big marine layer in Los Angeles. It was early-ish in the morning. And but as we got closer and closer to Santa Monica, it was clear that this was going to be sticking around here. And we've had so much rain in the area that what was happening is another storm was moving down. So while it was sunny and beautiful in Palm Springs, by the time we got to Santa Monica Airport, it was raining, and we came down to like 700-800 feet above minimums and had to do a real IFR approach into Santa Monica. So anyway, good stuff for you to be doing there, and will be time and money well spent there. Okay, let's take a look at our iPad and see how we're doing here. We're going through some airspace here, but we're cleared through all that. Now, this is where I really wish I had Pilot Edge, which is this ATC thing. Do you use Pilot Edge there, Cody B, when you're flying on your sim? All right, now it's not quite 4 o'clock yet. Now, at this point, what I would do, and you'll know this, Cody, over here on the MFD, there's, if you have, I don't know if it's on everything, but if you have XM satellite weather, there's a little active weather profile here that you can pick up. It's going to take, I only have 6 hours logged in the plane right now. I haven't landed yet, mainly because the tower-controlled airport. Well, Cody, don't rush, man, okay? Don't rush, man. Take your time. It took me about, I want to say it took me 80 hours-ish to get my private pilot license, and I had to take the test twice. I had to take the IFR exam twice. And when I got my private pilot license, I walked out of the airport that day going, they shouldn't be giving me a private pilot license. That was probably better than that, but I wasn't exactly brimming with confidence. Same is true when I got my IFR rating. And but the way you really learn is to get those fundamentals somewhat in order, and then just fly a lot. That's the big secret. Fly a lot. If you do that, you're going to get better. That's my experience. Cody B, you should try Pilot Edge sooner rather than later, because, again, I won't speak for you. When I was learning, I was intimidated by the whole ATC thing. I was always worried that I wasn't using the right word, the right terminology. I would choke. I just couldn't get stuff out of my mouth here. And so that was one of the real challenges for me when I first started, was getting comfortable with all of that stuff and getting comfortable with the lingo. So what I did was I started going to liveatc.net. If you're not familiar with that, you should get familiar with it. It's called liveatc.net, where you can put in the frequencies of hundreds of airports across the country here, and you can hear live feeds of ground control, clearance delivery, approach and departure controllers, so that you can hear real pilots in real conversations with traffic controllers. And I would sit there and take a little nap in the afternoon, which I've done for years, and I would, as the backdrop, instead of putting on music, I'd put on liveatc.net. And slowly but surely, I started to get a lot more comfortable with the lingo. And that's one of the ways I did. When I discovered Pilot Edge, which was really when I started my IFR training, that was a game changer because it wasn't quite the level of intensity that we would get here in LA with the frequency of controller changes and vectors and traffic and all the craziness that's LA. But it was enough to make you feel the pressure of delivering while you're flying. And so good stuff. All righty, we're cruising along here now. So now I'm going to do a little cheat on the weather here. So I'm going to go over to my iPad since I can't do it here in the plane. And by the way, folks, for all you folks out there, the greatest tool ever, if you ask me, that doesn't cost $1 million is a ForeFlight and an iPad. Greatest thing in the world. I'm going to go over to KEDC over here, and I'm going to click on the middle of it, and I'm going to go get the weather. It's 350 at 12 right now. Okay, there's a few clouds at 11,000. Let's check the runways there. The runways are 0927. I'm going to write those on my little sheet here. 09 and 27. And 18 and 36. Okay, 9 and 27 are closed, so that's off the table. So it's 18 or 36. And right now the weather we said was 350 at 12, so that makes an easy one. We're coming in on 36 will be our runway. Okay, so let's now, got an arrival to do here. Okay, let's now go back over to the plane here. Let's go up to the instruments here. All right, so now we're going to load a procedure in here. Okay, I'm going to go proceed, select approach. We went 3-6. I'm going to say 3-6 left LPV. And now I'm going to go look at my plate here. Approach for KEDC. We want RNAV 3-6 left. I don't want any VORDME. I want the real deal here. And let's see where we want to come into this at. We're coming from the west. Where am I going to pick this up at? All right, here's what I like to do. I'm going to show you something that I do that to help me visualize this stuff. I'm going to send this 3-6 left GPS approach. I'm going to push it up to the map here on my iPad. And there's the plate. Okay, so now it helps me pick out an initial approach fix here. It looks like we're going for 3-6. So it looks like safes is the one we want. Okay, so I'm going to go down here to safes now, back over here. You can see it there. I'm going to click enter. We're going to go, the minimums on this are, what are the minimums? Are 340. So we got 340. Let's flip it over here. Let's dial in 340. There is our minimums, and we're going to load and activate, not activate, we're going to load it. And then we're going to go and take a look and see how this looks when we pull out. So I'm going to go do the same thing now over on my iPad. I'm going to match it up. I'm going to go procedure, approach is going to be the 3-6 left, which is the best win right now. We want safes on the way in there, and I think that's our best bet. So we're going to add that to the route now. And now there is our approach here. All right, so now we've got an idea of what we got to do once we get closer to town here, and we're still a ways to go before we start this approach and arrival here. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to the flight plan and just take a look at this and make sure that it all kind of makes sense here. So right now we are JJO to LCH, okay, which is where we are right there. Then we got LFD, then we start the Audad Woon arrival. We got Voodoo, we got it all. We got the Bayou. I love it. My brother was born in New Orleans. All right, and there's KNEW. There's our safes. Okay. So when we get to what's that last fix? The last fix there is called Voodoo. When I get past Voodoo, I think then we're heading for that initial approach fix. Okay, so right now the approach is loaded. It's not activated. Okay, so now let's go and okay, I'm going to go and give you a little view outside the plane now here. And I'm going to do a little work behind the scenes here. Okay, I'm back here. Let's do a little check on all the engine stuff here and make sure that we got everything under control here. All righty, let's go up close on our instruments here and take some readings here. Okay, right now we've got our EGTs are 1540. That's a little bit less than last time. 330 is our CHCs, which is a little cooler than last time. 46, which is our oil pressure, which is the same. Our oil temp is the same. Our fuel flow is the same. Our power percentage is the same. Let's go over to, okay, let's go engine here. We've got 1,650 pounds of oxygen left, and we are on the right tank here, and we have got 54, oh, hang on. We've got 69 gallons of fuel on board right now. All right, so that is our little engine checks right here. Going through some clouds here right now. So we could either get higher here. See, check. Okay, now we've got, okay, here's something to take note of. We've got -1 temperature outside. So this is some potential here for icing. So what I'm going to do when I see this happening is I'm going to actually go up here, and let's come in close on our instruments here. I'm going to put on our ice right now just to make sure, and I'm going to put a little coat of stuff across our wings here just to make sure that we don't pick up any ice here. All right, so you can see there's clouds are pretty thin here, so I don't think we'll need to play around with this for much longer. But we're going to be on the safe side. Just give it a little rinse of some stuff over there. It's 30 seconds on, 90 seconds off. I don't know what is wrong with our iPad today, which is we've consistently been off the pink line here, which I don't know why that is. All righty, through the clouds here, as you can see, or just gently on the clouds on both sides. See little patches of blue below us. So we got kind of ground contact, very thin stuff here. Let's check on the right side. thin, wispy stuff. Nothing to be crazy about here. Look on our windshield. You see, I don't know if you can see it, but it looks like, you can, they do a kind of a job of recreating a little precipitation, moisture on your windshield. It's not really, really cold outside. If it says that it's 1 degree below freezing out there with the friction across the wings, the temperature on the wings is probably a bit higher than that. You can see we got little patches of blue. So this just makes for some fun flying right now. We've got 52 minutes to New Orleans. We're coming up on Lake Charles, which I believe is the start of the arrival procedure here. Now, why is this thing so? I don't know why that is. My X-Plane is just really strange here. Or my iPad, I should say. I'm looking at my iPad so you can see what I'm looking at right here. It's not tracking that line for some reason today. All right, let's just go to Lake Charles here. Let's see if it's going to pick that one up. Direct to Lake Charles. Because that's where we're heading right now on the big dog. It must have something to do with that arrival. Maybe there was a conflict or something there. But there it is right now. Let's go over to the chat room. Let's just see who is still with us. Okay, we got 3 folks. All right, great. 2 viewers, 2 likes. Thank you, folks. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Oh, I don't want that thing in here. Get out of here. All right, is anybody on there? Let's see. We got two folks in there. Any questions here? Let's go put up the X-Plane chat there. See if we've got anything there. Let's go rotate a little left. There we are. Okay. Are you planning to fly something else after you hand over the Cirrus? PC Genie. Well, thanks for joining me, PC Genie. Right now, I've had a bunch of people ask me why I'm selling our Cirrus, and the fact is, I've flown a bunch. I've got 1,350 hours of flying. About 1,000 of that is 1,000 hours of that is flying in my Cirrus. And so when I first started flying, I thought if I could get to 1,000 hours, that would be great. So I'm well past that right now. But the fact of the matter is, last year, for a number of different reasons, I only wound up flying about 100 hours. And to put that in perspective, I had flown 250, 300 hours a year in some of the years previous. And when you're flying that kind of hours in the Cirrus, it makes a lot of sense. Once I got to 100 hours and started looking at the cost of having the plane parked a lot, it started not to make as much sense. At one point, I had at least a few hours to a lawyer friend of mine, and we talked about perhaps partnering on the plane, but for one reason or another, it just didn't come together. And the truth of the matter is, I'm not a good partner guy, and I've had a number of people suggest that I lease the plane to a flight school, which I'm just not interested in doing. And so my wife and I thought, you know what, we've had a great time in the plane here. Our priorities have changed a little bit. We've got our kids that are looking for, ultimately to buy a house, and we'll need some help to do that. So when our priorities changed a little bit, we just thought, you know what, this sounds like the right time to sell the plane. So that's what we're doing, and I'm likely going to keep flying, but I'll either lease back some hours. There's a couple of Cirrus pilots I've already been in contact with who've got brand new Gen 6 turbo planes out here in Southern California that have expressed some willingness or desire to perhaps lease some hours to reduce their costs a little bit. So that's likely what I'm going to do. I've heard a bunch of different things. I thought I was going to be buying a Vision jet, which wouldn't that be nice, but that's just not really happening here. No to Club Flight School, wise move. Matt Cutherman, I believe it is. I've met a lot of Cirrus pilots at various Cirrus Copa events and so forth, but a lot of them right here on my little YouTube channel, and so I've gotten friendly with a couple of them, and a couple of them have bought Cirruses and leased them to a flight club, right? And they keep wondering why their plane has had so many issues, mechanical issues and so forth. And knock on wood, I've had almost no major issues with my plane for sure, and I've kept it up to speed. I've had it serviced regularly just by the book. Once we hit 50 hours, it's in there. I've replaced the tires. I replaced the brakes at the first hint of something not being right. And so that's the way to keep your plane together. When a bunch of different people are flying your plane, all of a sudden it's flying inconsistently. The temperatures are moving all over the place, and some of it is inexperience, some of it is just people not paying attention and so forth. So that was not going to be for me. Is this a rehearsal, a recreation of the final trip? Well, we were supposed to start yesterday on our trip to Austin, and the weather was decent out here in LA yesterday, and it looked to be decent till we got to Fort Lauderdale, but it was looking like, and it's looking even more like that since I've checked the weather again today, that on the way back we were likely to get a bunch of weather, and I just didn't want to deal with that because like all you folks, I read the paper, I watch the news. There's been all kinds of aviation incidents, a couple fatal ones that a few of them mostly down to extreme weather and turbulence and so forth. So we've been through a little. Not severe. We have little bits of severe turbulence, and certainly, steady, nasty turbulence in our plane flying across the country once before. So I have a healthy appreciation for just how uncomfortable that can be. So we decided to postpone the trip, and my wife was very disappointed. She's feeling better about it today. So I decided, just because what else was I going to do? I'd planned on flying all week. I thought, let's go ahead and fly it on the sim. What's beautiful about this simulator is that you can you can set it up to follow the actual weather as it's pulls the internet weather down. So what you're seeing is pretty close to what you might have expected out there had you flown today. So true to plan, or what I thought would be the plan, I figured it would be pretty easy sailing going east, and so far so good. We've got some clouds and so forth, but nothing crazy here. And so this has been kind of a rehearsal for a trip I hope we get to do. But, next week is already shaping up to be horrible around here in Southern California again. So hopefully we'll get one more flight in before we sell the plane. But if somebody called up and my gal Sarah and said, hey, we want to buy the plane, I obviously we wouldn't be taking the trip. So I'm kind of mixed bag. I'm hoping we get enough time to make that trip before we have to sell the plane. But if not, we got a bags full of memories in our Cirrus here. Weather in LA has been lousy. I've had at least 15 lessons VFR canceled. Are you here at a PC Genie in LA? Of course. This has been a wacky weather year here in Southern California, but That's because we just care about California. When you start to look at flying across the country, you get a lot more interested in the weather in other places. And it's been a freaking whacked year on weather, period, across the United States. And I don't think it's my imagination. I think this is, in my almost 68 years, this is about the most sustained streak of extreme weather across the whole of the country, and certainly here in Southern California, that I can remember in some time. We've had some rainy winters, not as many as we'd like, or we wouldn't have a drought, but this was cold and rainy and nasty, and not great flying weather, even if you have a Cirrus. So you got to be smart out there. Okay, let's take a look over here and take care of a little business. I see we've got a little bit of a fuel imbalance happening here. So we're going to switch over to the left tank now. Okay, so right now, let's do a little recap. We are about 140 miles. If you look over here, let's come up close on the instruments here. We're 140 miles from KNEW. Okay, we're going to have 55 gallons of fuel. We got 42 minutes to go. And speaking of New Orleans, interesting enough, in a half hour, our Lakers are playing the New Orleans Pelicans. That's at 5 o'clock. So that means we'll be a little late. Okay, hopefully the Lakers can hold it together while I'm getting there. So shortly we will be starting to plan our descent, into New Orleans here. So let's go on the flight plan here again for a second. I'm going to go push it up here so you can see it. And I'm going to go over here, and I'm just going to go and look here. We've got safes. Once we get past Voodoo, that's our spot. So we're 2 waypoints away from where we're going to start our approaching from Voodoo to 14.9. We got 13,000 feet here. So let's go and take a look at our iPad here. Let's go over to the plates here. Oh, we want the plates here. Plates. Okay, and where do we want to be? It's safe. We want to be at 2,600 from Safe to Gourd. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up top here, and we're going to set an altitude restriction at Safe. Okay, I'm going to put that in there. Okay, we're at 13,000 feet up here, and then we're going to go and do this little approach here. Now, what I've got this thing all set up now. So what I'm going to do is, when you get looking at Garmin Perspective Plus, it'll have a waypoint in here. Right now, this waypoint of KNEW here is kind of affecting all the other ones because it's giving me some kind of bogus numbers on where I need to be altitude-wise. So on the audio, let's go take a look at that arrival as well. Okay, right here, if you look on the plate here, you can see that after Lafayette, we should be at about 7,000 at Lafayette. So I'm going to go up here and put in 7,000 there at Lafayette and hit enter. And now you see I have a time to top of descent. So I'm glad I did that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here on the PFD now. I'm going to use the altitude select down here. And I'm going to dial in 7,000 is my VNAV reference, or to match the VNAV reference altitude. And then I'm going to come down here on the autopilot controller. I'm going to press VNAV. And now you'll see up here on the PFD that the V path is now armed. And in 1 minute and 15 seconds, we're going to reach our top of descent. Now, little quirk here of X-plane. Depending on how far out you are from the waypoint, sometimes this VNAV will actually not kick in automatically, okay? And that's kind of a drag. But I found that understanding what's supposed to be happening is step number one. Number two, being able to identify when something is not happening is step number two. And step number three, importantly, is dealing with that. So if this thing doesn't switch over to VPath on its own and go down automatically, I can see right here that it tells me I'm going to need 817 feet per minute descent rate to get to 7,000 at Lafayette. Okay, so I'm going to wait here, and in 18 seconds, if that thing doesn't make the move and go live, I'm going to go vertical speed at 846 feet a minute, and we're going to push this baby down old school. So let's just see what happens. Okay, you can see right here the VPath is kicked in, and now the plane is descending on its own here. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come back over here so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go, let's go widescreen here. I'm going to start to pull back on my power a little bit once I started to descend to about 55 or 60% here. Why am I doing that? Because for me, I like to keep my speed steady. I don't need to be racing downhill here. So right now, that's barely keeping me at the same number. So 160, we're going 200, almost 193 knots ground speed here. So we're rocking here right now. You can see that ground speed of 193, but we're holding steady. So here's what I might do right here. I might pull a little bit more power to 40%. Let's get her to 40 there. And see if I can keep that speed under control. Okay, so now we're coming through some clouds here. No looking outside, but let's just take a look left. All right. So I might be looking for some ground contact here just to make sure we're on track. Let's go back to... Now, once we get to Voodoo, we're going to activate this approach. So I've got a ways to go here. Let's come up close and see. So there's where we're at on the MFD. At some point, okay, now as you can see over here on the iPad, we are starting to enter into the arrival plate, which I just love the fact that it can be superimposed here and you can see where you are in this. It gives you such great situational awareness. So we want to be 7,000 at Lafayette, and that's where we're going to be shortly here. Is your sim certified to allow you to log time for recurrent? I think it is, Cody B. But because I fly IFR so much, oh, there's some icing on our windshield, darn it. Okay, so let's put that icing. Let's go. We'll go high, and then I'm going to go and over to here, and I'm going to put on the heat. And we're going to bang that thing up there and get this baby banging here quickly. Actually, we're just going to blow it up there. That happened pretty fast. Okay. Let's look off to the left wing here. Okay, I don't see any ice because we covered the wings here. Okay. On the Cirrus Gen 6 SR22, there's an extra button here for windshield. It's not here on the switch panel here in the flight model we're looking at here today. There's one more button over here called windshield. It sounds like a great idea, but if you put that windshield thing on too close to when you're landing, you won't be able to see anything out there. So I've learned to kind of steer away from that. And what I wasn't paying attention, I was yapping here, and I should have been all over this windshield at full max here at the first hint of trouble there. All right, so we're entering in here on this approach here. You can see it on both the approach plate over here on the iPad and over here on the big map. Okay, now I'm going to start decluttering here because I like to just see the lines that I need here. I got my pitot heat on, our temperatures outside or a little below freezing. Diego, John, how are you, my friend? Nice to that you could nice of you to join us today. Easy for me to say, right? All right, this has been fun here today on a rainy day, and it's still raining here in L.A. There's a little bit of ice on the window here on the sim is preventing us from having a nice view of the proceedings here as we come in. All right, let's come up close and get a little check of all the instruments and everything. We're going to Lafayette. We've got 8.1 miles. We want to be at 7. Our flight plan says we need 801 feet per minute to get there. We got 2 minutes and 32 seconds before we reach our bottom of descent. Come over here on the PFD. You'll see that our vertical speed down is matching just what we need here, so that's all good. Let's take a look and see what this looks like from outside. All right, so we just got stuff on the windshield now. We can't see, but it's actually pretty decent right here. We're under the clouds and coming down, so this is nice. All right, one thing we can do here is to save a little oxygen. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to tilt down a little bit. I'm going to get rid of the oxygen. We're under our oxygen point here. Now, I still haven't picked up the weather. KEDW yet, so I'm going to go cheat here a little bit on the iPad. Let's go to the iPad so you can see we've got 030 at 12. We're coming in on 36, so that's not going to be an issue. Scattered at 11,000. Our altimeter is 3021. That's what I'm looking for right now, and that's all good. So let's come back over here. How you doing, Ren? Giving up flying? No, I'm not giving up flying. Just haven't been flying quite as much. I'm giving up being an owner because I think, for the amount of flying I'm actually doing these days, which is, still a decent amount. I reckon I'll do 75 to 100 hours this year, which is not horrible, but 75 to 100 hours means my plane is sitting on the parking lot out there at Santa Monica, and that's an expensive place to park. So I'm going to either lease back some hours or rent. And for any of you folks that got a brand new Cirrus and you're out in town, you need somebody to show you the airspace, I'd be happy to volunteer and be your in-air caddy. Okay, that's a nice little view there. All right, we got 34 seconds to our top of descent here, or the bottom of descent, I should say, and then we're going to level out. Now, here's something to keep in mind. Things I've done, stupid things I've done in a plane. All of a sudden, you set your power to come down so you keep your speed steady. Then you get to 7,000 feet, and all of a sudden you forget to put the power back in, and all of a sudden then you got a problem on your hands. So let's not do that. All right, there's 7,000, so let's put some power back in there. Okay, we got 52 miles to Audad. And so right here, we want to be at 4,000 at Audad. So let's go set another VNAV restriction, 4,400. Let's come up close so you can see what I'm doing here. I'm over here. I'm putting in a new altitude restriction of 4,000 at Audad. And now we got time to top of descent of 13 minutes and 38 seconds. Now, in the real world here, I would have ATC directing me when to come on down. Since I don't have live ATC today, we're going to do it. We're going to improvise a little bit. So 13 minutes and 21 seconds to our top of descent. And then that'll get us down to 4,000. And at Voodoo, what do we want to be at Voodoo at? At Voodoo, we want to be at 4,000. Okay, good. So we're in striking range on all of this. And then we got to go 4,000, 2,600 for our initial approach fix. Let's make sure the missed approach is all set. Final approach fix is going to be Hebot at 1,700. Then we 36 with Pandar, shaky, and then hold. Okay, great. All right, so everything is working smoothly here right now. This is all the things I love about this here is the little bits of automation, which of course you can do all of that on your own, but it's I think it's fun actually being able to work the system here. So let's take a look out to the left and we see it's a beautiful area out there. And for me, it's fun, I'm not going to lie, to just look out and see some flat, no mountains. Mountains are beautiful. We've flown across the country over some big mountains, but they're a little scary. If God forbid something happened with the engine or something, I'd much prefer to be out here than over the Sierra Nevadas or the Rockies or the Grand Tetons. Those Rockies and Grand Tetons, that's freaking scary shit. Okay, let's get our checklist ready here, our descent checklist. Okay, we've got our altimeter. We've set for 3021. Let's go get that weather one more time here. I'm not getting the, okay, 118.95. Is that our 124 points? Is it 7? Let's try something here. Hey, this is 124.9. Let's switch that over here. All right, still not picking up the ATIS yet. Cabin heat defrost is good. All right, so we can get, let's go over to the, turn that off now. All right, our landing light, let's put our landing light on right now so everybody knows we're coming. Actually, it's a little early for the landing light. Let's hang on to that. All right, one other thing that I've learned flying across country on our very first flight across the country was that you're not done flying until you've actually parked that plane. And so I had one of my worst and most embarrassing moments ever as a pilot because I hadn't taken the time to brief the approach and then the landing and the taxiing to my destination here. So today we're coming in on runway 36 left. Okay, so here is the airport sheet for that. So if we land on runway 36 left, we want to come back to signature flight support, which is down here. So we're going to pass over that as we're coming in. So I'll want to get off, and I'm going to take note of it and put it on my flight info sheet here. I want to come in on, I want to exit on Hotel or Juliet, H or J to Bravo to signature flight. Okay, so that looks good. Now let me show you a little interesting little tool here that we can use on the iPad. It's called Taxi Route. Okay, at the top there. You can click on the taxi route. We're landing on runway 36 left. Okay, we want to go to signature flight support. Okay, we need to get off here on let's see, we're going to land here. We wanted hotel or Juliet. Let's say we're going to get off on Juliet. So I'm going to put Juliet. I'm going to move flight support over here. I'm going to hold it. Hang on. And I'm going to move it over here. So now we've got hotel. We land on 36. We come down Bravo to Foxtrot. Or we get off on Julio, then we went Bravo. To Foxtrot to Signature. And there is our taxi route, okay? Close, nice and easy. Makes it nice and easy for you so you got a great visual on what you're doing when you get on the ground. I wish I'd taken the time to do this before I landed at Fort Lauderdale Executive. So in so many ways, our trip back to Florida is kind of a chance to get a mulligan on some of the crazy, stupid stuff I did when I first started flying here. Okay. All right. Let's check and see if there's anything going on in the chat room here. Okay. Diego, John, we just talked there. Let's see. I'm going to go take a look and see who we've got, who, if anybody, we've got watching over here. Okay. We got 6 folks on there. If anybody's got any questions or comments, feel free. Just be gentle. All right, here we are. Diego John giving up the channel. I don't think so. I will say this. It's always much more fun flying the flights than it is trying to edit them afterwards. I'm not a great editor. I would say realistically that for every hour I fly, it probably takes 10 hours for me to edit a video together, mostly because I get way too concerned with making everything just right and getting a bunch of different views and looking at the instruments and all of that stuff. So in a strange way, once I got the sim setup all dialed in here, this winds up being a much easier way for me to produce a video that has some bit of learning to it, a lesson to it, which is what I tried to find in all of those videos that I put on the channel. When I started the channel, it wasn't with any thought toward being a kind of YouTube person. It was really videos that I shot over my shoulder that I reviewed after every single flight when I was taking my flight training, to help me understand what was going on in the cockpit, right? And so, did I not time to top set? We still got 4. I'm going to put V now. Let me go down here and take care of a little bit of business here first, gentlemen. I'm going to go down here and arm the V nav again and arm my altitude for 4,000 here so that I can keep talking and the plane will fly. Back over here. So anyway, as long as it's fun, and people enjoy it, I'll likely keep doing it. It's fun. This is a lot of fun, gentlemen, just kind of hanging out with you lot and being able to fly. It's almost like having somebody in the cockpit with me. Puts a little bit of, I don't want to say pressure, but it makes you want to perform and keeps you focused in here. So as long as people are enjoying the videos, then I'll keep doing it. As long as it's not, once it starts feeling like work, doing all the editing those videos is where I slow down a little bit, to be honest about it. And I've still got probably a couple hundred hours worth of video footage that I could edit together, and it's all fresh in that moment. Then I get away from it a little bit, and it kind of goes to the back burner. But I've got some great lessons and stuff still in the pile there that I want to crank out. So that's a long answer to, are you giving up the channel? No plans to do that just yet. Although finding a way to make it, putting out the videos and making the videos more fun and a little less time consuming is part of it. So maybe what I should do is just once a week do a little sim flight interspersed in with some real flight footage. So I have to be somewhere, and we just do a live stream like this, which it's just a lot less stress. I'm getting better at moving around the cockpit here. You would be a good CFI. Take us along on your training. Well, I'm not sure I have the patience or the courage to be a CFI, that's for sure. But I do enjoy, I really do enjoy sharing my experience from flying. And I'm not, I've never been shy about sharing some of my worst moments, because if I thought I was the only person that made those mistakes, it'd be one thing, but I'm not, and I know that. So if I can help somebody avoid some of the stupid things I've done, the aviation world will be a safer place. That's for sure. So, all right, just looking out there. This is the part I love when you're coming into the end of a trip and you're about to get to where you want to be, and you're now flying that baby in. All right, so we got 15 miles to Audad, and then the next waypoint is Voodoo. Let's go back to the arrival plate here. And we wanted to be at Voodoo at 4,000 feet. So we're going to start down here in 1 minute and 12 seconds. Let's go up top so you can see again. This is all the stuff that keeps me occupied. Play time to top of descent here. Let's get out of here. Let's just go. Time to top of descent over here. You got 1 minute, 59 seconds. So to make that VNAV work, you've got to match the reference altitude, 4,000 or less. So in this case, let's just go put it down to 2,600. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Let's get out of there. We're going to put Voodoo at 20. Voodoo's 4,000. No, we're good. We're good. What I am going to do is I'm going to go up here and I'm going to get rid of, I'm going to clear that one out of there. And then once we get to Voodoo, we're going to go direct to safes, which is going to activate the approach. Write a book. Oh, wow. God, I can. Yeah, that's unlikely to happen. Okay, so you can see right now here. Let's come up close on the instruments here. You can see right now the VNAV is now activated. It's showing we need 800 feet a minute to get to that 4,000. So once again, we're heading downhill, so our speed is kicking up. So I'm going to pull back some power here. Let's go. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to pull back power to about 50% here. Let's get her in 50. There's 50, which is going to keep, might even have to go to 40 here. Let's go to 40-ish. I'm going to pull it back a little bit further still just to get started down and get our speed under control a little bit. I'm going to switch over to my right tank here. Got a little fuel imbalance right now. That speed is starting to bleed off a little bit, which is good. I don't like to be going too fast. Let's go back on our map here. Now the approach has been loaded. It's not been activated yet. Once we get to Audad, which is 8.2 miles, now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the approach plate up here on the iPad. So we should be coming into that shortly. Let's see, you can see what I've got looking at right now. So I've got that in hand here. I'm going to go over to my flight plan over here. We got Voodoo, then we want safes, which is the initial approach fix down here. So I think we're looking good right now. Yeah, I'm not going to write a book, Diego, John. My way of writing a book is ugly and unorganized as it is to do a video. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a video must be worth 10,000 words, and so that'll be the closest I come to writing a book. All right, we're coming up on Audad here, and then we're going to go direct. We got time to bottom ascent. V path is picked up. We're looking good. All right, so now I'm just going to be patient here. Let's get down to 4,000 at Audad. Then we're going to go down to safes, and I'm going to hit direct. Or actually, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how this works. Should work. Is we're going to go up to procedures and then activate the approach, and it should take me to that initial approach fix. There's our bell for that on this sim model we have right here. The bell comes up at 1,000 feet before we get to our altitude. I don't recall if that's a setting on the Gen 6 Perspective Plus, but mine in my G6 is set at 200 feet above or below the altitude select, and I actually prefer it there. 1,000's a little too far out. I need to be reminded closer to the money time. What a great view here, coming in over the Bayou country. See forever out there. I've had some good times down in New Orleans. Used to go down there with bands to play gigs, and you want to have some fun, go with a band. Say you're with the band in New Orleans, and you get a fun ride. I'll just tell you that. Okay, we're coming up on 4,000. Okay, finally we're getting some weather. You can see at the top of the screen here. We got winds 030 at 10, visibly more than 10. Skies condition, altimeter 3021. We've got that arriving on 36 left. Departing 36, you got Romeo. Okay, so that's Romeo. Got it? Okay, now that I've got that, I'm going to click off of COM2. I'm going to click down to COM2, and now I'm going to put in our tower, which is 118.95, and our ground frequency is 121.7. So I'm going to go ahead and set those, 121.7, which you can see right here. And so now my two ground frequencies are set. All I have to do is flip over to COM2, and everything is ready to go. Let's come up top and take a look right here again. Okay, we're at 4,000 now. Okay, so we're coming up now. We want Voodoo, so now I'm going to go to Procedure, and I'm going to go Activate the Approach. And what should happen is we should see that all come together. So I'm going to press the Approach button here. The GPV kicks in here. Oh, I didn't activate it all the way. Okay, activate the approach, and now we're turning to safes, which will be our initial approach fix. And then I'm going to sync up my heading once we get situated there. Bang, and we're good. All right, now I want to be at 2,600 feet. It's safes. Okay, time to top of descent is 15:38. Okay, so let's go put in 2,600 here. Time to top, so let's get our VNAV set again. So our V path is armed up here again. So we can go a little bit faster here. Let's not crawl into New Orleans. We want to be at 120 knots at safes, but we got a ways to go before we get there. So let's put this baby back. Let's get going here a little bit. I'm going to switch. We're on our right-hand tank here, which is good. Okay, so now we're going to safes here. direct to on the iPad so we can get it all in sync here. All right, let's go to the iPad so you can see where we're at on the iPad. Coming in for the final money here on the let's go to our big screen here. Right there, you can see everything in action there. We're lining up perfectly here. 2,600 where we need to be. We're at 4,000. We've got our V path is armed. We've got good speed. Our VNAV reference altitude matches our altitude select, and the VNAV button is pushed, and V path is ready to go. 11 minutes and 14 seconds. All right, I'm going to come over here to our checklist now, our descent checklist. Let's get busy here. Altimeter is set, cabin heat defrost is off. Our landing light is now on. Our fuel system, we're on the right-hand tank, which you can see right here, so we're all good there. Now, here's what I'm going to do on the sim here, and I want you to pay attention over there on the power setting. I'm going to push the mixture full right now, and because it takes some time to adjust. And if you do it close to the runway here, it gets a little funny. So now my power is good. Okay, so good. We're all set there. Mixture is set. Brake pressure we've got. Oxygen is no longer on. Before it's landing, seatbelt's on. Our fuel pump is always on in my plane. Mixture is as required. I've set it to full now. Our flaps are not necessary yet. And our autopilot, we're going to kick that off before we come in. Okay, and then, of course, back to the map. All right, now over here on the iPad, you can see we're just about now ready to enter the Bravo. We've entered New Orleans class Bravo airspace, so by now we would have been cleared in here. We would have been cleared for the approach here. Probably wouldn't have been cleared for the approach just yet. They probably would have gotten us closer to the initial approach fix, but we would have probably been cleared to the initial approach fix. Okay, back with you. Let's go up and check up on our instruments there and see what's going on here. Okay, we got 5 minutes and 47 seconds before we to start our descent from 4,000 down to 2,600. We got good speed. Let's sync up our heading there. We got 21 miles to safes, which is our initial approach fix. I'll want to be at about 120 knots when we make that turn there. So we'll keep an eye on our speed right now. All right, nothing to talk about right now, so just kind of enjoying the view here. Got there to the right, you can see out into the Gulf of Mexico, or not the Gulf of Mexico, that's more like, what is that? That's Lake Salvador off to our right ahead. Uh, there's Diego John here. You know what? I've said it only half kiddingly that with all this new gear that you have here, I'll just show you. With this whole setup right here, I'm not kidding you. Other than the fact that I can have my coffee or tea here, and I've got to manage this whole shtick over here for the streaming and so forth. This makes it just so real, I can't even tell you. And that's coming from a guy who's flown 1,000 hours in a Cirrus, right? The hand-eye memory coordination, getting comfortable, getting your head straight about what's supposed to be happening, what's really happening, it's amazing. So I just love it. Okay, let's come back inside here. We're 1 minute 39 seconds to our top of descent. Everything is all set up properly here. We've got our VNav is armed. We have our altitudes in sync. The VNav reference altitude and the altitude select are all good. VPath is showing that it's armed up top here in 1 minute and 17 seconds. It should start 12 seconds. It should start us down. And if it doesn't, I'm going to push it down vertical speed at 734 feet a minute to get to that 2600. Now, once we get a little closer, once we get a couple miles out from safe, so I'm going to pull back the power pretty significantly there and get that power down to where or the speed down to where we need it to be. Let's flip over to our left tank here right now. Coming up on Lake Katawatuchi. I don't know. That's Lake over here. Sorry for all my friends in New Orleans. I hacked that name to death. 6.8 miles. Okay, so let's start pulling back some power here. And see if we can get that speed to drop down here a little bit. One of the important lessons I learned flying my Cirrus in the early days was that you got to control your speed. And I used to sit there and kind of inch down the throttle and so forth. But when you want it to slow down, just pull it back and get that speed coming down. And then you can gently put some power back in here right now. And now you can I'm going to stabilize it there around 35%. Now in the sim, I don't pay as much attention as what the actual power setting is. I'm more interested in just getting that speed to where I need it to be. And that's the whole game. Okay, so you can see right here at the bottom of the descent didn't happen. Okay, so we need 832 feet a minute to get there. So rather than panicking and going to pieces over it, just deal with it. That's what I've learned. Just don't go to pieces. Deal with it. If the automation is not doing exactly what you want and you're confused, turn off the autopilot. Okay? Don't let the plane drive if you're not sure where it's driving to. All right, so our speed is creeping up again there. So I'm going to pull that power back a little bit more again. So I want that speed under control. I want a $120 when we make that turn here. Now right here on the sim, you see it says 0%. It's actually not 0%, but I'm looking for one number, which is that airstrip or the airspeed strip, and I want it to be going $120-ish when we get there. So now here's what I'm going to pull the power back till we get to 120. Right before we get there, I'm going to put a little power back in right now and see if I can capture it. There we go. Close. All right, we're good. Oops, shit, sorry. Nav. And now we've armed that approach. I hope I did this right now. I think I might have just whacked this thing out a little bit here. All right, if I did, I'll just have to fly it in by old school by hand here. Okay, we're getting down to 2600 here. Okay, now we're making the turn for home here, and we want 2,600 feet to Toibo, which is good. Okay, so the next one is Goddard, which is 2,600 feet, which is where we're going to be. We got 120 knots there, which is perfect. Right now, let's sync up our heading. Okay, the glide path is now armed, or our approach is now armed. We loaded it, we activated, we armed it. We went 2,600 feet. Our final approach fix is 1,700 feet. So let's get that dialed in there in case we have to do it by hand. All right, now this is a classic stable approach coming up here. We got 120, we got good speed, everything is in good shape here. This is going to be interesting. We're landing right into the middle of Lake Pontchartrain. Just in time for the Lakers. Oh, no, we're actually late for the Lakers game here tonight. Okay. Lakers and Pelicans. Now, one of my instructors when I first started was a guy by the name of Ed Waters, who was my transition instructor when we bought our Cirrus. And Ed and I have become really close friends. But one of the first things he told me when we started our training, or my transition training, he goes, Steve, your goal is to be the most boring pilot in the world. And that means no surprises. Everything's happening the way it should be happening. And I've taken that to heart. And Ed was right. And so if I'm a little boring on these approaches, that's just exactly what I'm looking to do. Okay, we got to get this game thing on the ground. We got a game to go to or watch on TV here. Okay, I'm going to go check out my plates again here. I want the airport. We got our taxi route set. We want get my kneeboard back on here. Okay, we're going to get off on Hotel or Julia to Bravo, back to signatures, as you can see right here on the iPad. Okay, now we're making that turn for home. All right. Toy Bow is next at 2,600 feet. We're going to stay right there. Okay, I can see the airport ahead. This is all good now. This is the part about flying that I just never get tired of, when you got the end in sight and you feel like just about got the mission completed, but this is where all the airplanes are, so this is where you got to keep your attention up and don't lose your focus. Let's go look left. Let's look right. Let's go back to our map here. We're going to be back in Class Bravo airspace here in 1 second or so. Okay, Toy Bow, and then we've got 3.1 miles to He-Boat, which is the He-Bot, which is the last fixture. That's at 1,700. Okay, we're closing in there. And we want 4 seconds. We're going to He-Boat now. All right, now the glide path is kicked in. Awesome. Okay, so now I'm going to put in that first notch of flaps here. I'm going to hold that nose down. Okay, KNEW is right in front of us, as you can see on the PFD there. Oh, I didn't want to do that. Okay, let's get auto. Jesus. Okay. As soon as you trim here, this autopilot goes away. So there's on the glide path. We got our speed under control now. We want 100-ish right here. We're on the glide path. Okay, our missed approach altitude is going to be 2,100, so let's put that in here. You can see everything shaping up there nicely. Let's go to our, there it is. Now let's go up top and take a look at it. Got good speed. Right where we need to be. Heading right to Lake Pontchartrain. We want Hotel or Juliet to Bravo to signatures. Then to the hotel, and then out for some Cajun dinner. Back to the flight plan here. 2.5 miles from Firma. Then it's 2.2 miles to the missed approach, so we'll wait till firmer, and then we will put in that last notch of flaps. Everything is looking good right now. Last chance to do a little sightseeing here, looking for some traffic. Okay, there are pathways are kicking in. Love that. Coming up on firm, and then we got 2.2 miles to the missed approach. Get 2 reds, 2 whites. Okay, let's put in that last notch of flaps. I'm going to hold that nose down, and we're going to kick off the autopilot. We're going to fly it home from here by hand. Okay, pull that power back a little bit. All righty, anti-ice speed. Let's get rid of the anti-ice stuff here. Okay, stay focused here, Steve. All righty. Got good speed. Get rid of the flight director now. Got good speed coming in here. 200 above minimums. We're going to continue the approach here. Continuing approach. A little high, it says here. So I'm going to pull a little bit of power here. Get her down, trim it a little bit as we're changing our power setting. Okay, we want to be about 77 over those numbers. We're right on the glide path, 2 reds, 2 whites. Got a little threshold here. Pulling that power, trimming. Let's put it right on the money here. That nose up. Hold it, 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 hold it. There we go, right in the middle. Let's keep it there. Flaps up. Missed the first one. We'll get Juliet here. No need to cram the brakes on here. Let's get it. Got to go up to Juliet. Show our iPad now. You can see where we're at on the runway here. Juliet's coming up right there. Okay, there's Juliet, just as predicted, as planned, I should say. Okay, now let's start kicking her out. Okay, let's switch over to ground. There's Juliet to Bravo. Okay, we're going to clear active runway. They're going to clear us to signatures. Step back on Bravo here. Okay, and the flight is done. That was a good little approach and landing there. I agree, Diego. John, life is a journey, not a destination. But today our destination was Nolans, and that was a lot of fun flying in there. I'm happy you guys made it along, made more fun for me here. We got a long taxi back here. Then it's time to go watch some b-ball. Look at the elevation there on the tape there. It's 20, minus 20 feet below. We are literally in the teacup. One of my buddies was a big-time concert promoter named Don Fox in New Orleans. And he used to tell me, Stevie, New Orleans is like a teacup. Just don't want that water coming over into the teacup. When they had the big hurricane there and their floods, his whole office was damaged, and the only gold record that survived, and here's a picture he sent me, was Incubus, which I thought was a good omen for everybody. All right, so we're going to come up here, and then we're going to go left here on its signatures here. Okay, so we're going to keep going here. Got a ways to go. We're going to cross runway 9, which is closed, so I think that's safe to say we can come across there. But let's just take a look to the right just to make sure nobody's doing something kooky. Here we go to Foxtrot, and then we are going to be in business. And that looks like Signature Aviation right ahead. And so let's just go over here and park our little plane. Got to be some tie downs there. It says that's Signature Flight Support, so I'm going to assume it is. There's their parking lot. That's got to be the front of it here. Nope. All right, let's just turn it around here. All right, let's put on our parking brake here. This parking brake is on. Let's go and turn off our boost pump here. Let's cycle the engine. Here it is. Pull back our mixture, and the engine is off. All right, we've got fuel left is 50 gallons of fuel here left over. Let's go down to our glove box here. Let's open it up. Let's get open here. We've got 19.3 Hobbs hours here. We've got 14.8 engine hours. That's all good. Let's close that up. Let's come back up top. Let's turn off our switches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ignition off. And let's come back into the hangar. All right, well, that's fun. That was fun hanging out with you guys. That was Austin Executive Airport to KNEW Lakefront Airport in New Orleans, and it was a pleasure flying with you lot, and looking forward to doing it again. Tomorrow I'm going to fly a little leg from New Orleans down to Executive, or what is it? Oh, God, Fort Lauderdale Executive Airport down there in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Okay, so that's it for today. My name is Steve Rennie. I am the Ren Man. This is my my Ren Baron Learning to Fly YouTube channel, and I am out of here, and I am tired. So see you later. I'm going to go watch some basketball.